The one thing that we each want is to understand ourselves, or at least to accept who we are. That's our goal in life. And so today, on April the 3rd of 2026, I'm going to do that. And it'll probably help you do that as well. And it is Good Friday if you're into that kind of a thing, so it might mean something to you. But that title that I had to use on this video is to explain me, for me to accept or understand myself. It's an ongoing process because we don't know who we're going to become, and it is something that occurs in our consciousness, and is something that happens over time, and we never know it all. And then we don't know what the world is going to offer us either. We don't know how it's going to turn out, and we probably have been very confused about the world recently. And that's why I have to come to understand myself. And this is going to be one of those videos that I will be able to send to everyone who has never understood me before, as I didn't. You might have had that difficulty as well. But I'm going to first read you a message, and then I will explain it so that you will understand the capabilities that you have, because they're only in consciousness, and we just have limitations as to what we think we can do, no matter when we live. But it's always within us to accomplish something more individually and also collectively, meaning in our world. See, a philosophy is something that it can give more people the ability to move to a higher state of understanding. That's why I wrote the article today, How I Developed a Philosophy That Could Change the World. And the reason it could change the world, because it causes more people to understand themselves and to move to a higher state of consciousness, achieve something in the world, know that they have a legacy that they will leave the world so that their lives mean something. And the more of us who can come to that place, the world changes. Because, see, we will pass that on to others who come later. If you have kids, you will pass it on to them, or just your example will pass it on to whoever happens to be around you, and even to the world at large. That's how this works. So this is the message, and I'll read it, and then I'm going to explain how it came about, especially for those people who have never heard of me, who don't know me, and this could be very different, because everything that we experience in our lives is through consciousness, and we will all form it in different ways, and that changes over time as well as we live as humans. April 3rd, 2020. You didn't understand yourself until now. Those words are meant for every person who reads them. Your world is now causing each of you to remember who you are. That is why we have been yelling about it for some time. A recent review of our messages reveals this to you. Yesterday we told you Roger could not find his folder from 2005. Then we said he would, which he did. And now the significance of this will make sense to you all. Every human doubts who they are during their lives, but that is purposeful. Yes, we wanted an exclamation point for emphasis. Not one of you is left out of this equation. This morning we awakened Roger with a bit more noise than usual, as we had a lot to say, but we will temper ourselves. After all, you will have more time with us now. Also, we have given Roger enough information over the years that none of you could possibly consume it all. The reason we wanted Roger to find the folder from 2005 was to pull from it any message and post it at the end. It will make sense. Then we told Roger to do make it 4 things, and we will use names. 1. Apologize to Gibran for not offering more guidance last night, as Roger knew that guidance would help, as Roger had experienced those frightening times. What that is referring to is a former roommate that I had, and he was moving through the same types of headaches that I had had, which I call them cluster headaches, and I knew how he could begin to move through them. But I also knew he needed to figure this out, and I could only be an example so far. Anyway, so then, Roger had experienced those frightening times. The apology is not necessary, but it causes Roger to acknowledge he is withholding what he knows. Each of you will recognize this within yourselves. Also, read him your notes from 1994. That is the time when I was experiencing the headaches and I was figuring out how I could move through them, and I had written it all down. Next, tell Jared that he couldn't connect with Roger or us earlier because he was to trust himself, as he did, and would only receive confirmation from us when the time was right, which was last night. Jared was another friend who I had given some counseling to several times, but he was not to become dependent on it because he was developing his own abilities and skills, and actually he ended up calling me last week, as a matter of fact, telling me that's exactly what had occurred. Now, thirdly, tell Cam that her use of onward and upward is what she is moving to and offering, and none of it is accidental. Cam died last year, and she used to use that phrase all the time, and she helped me write my book, Overcoming Fear, A Guide to Freedom. So she still lives on in all of the stuff that she has given us, but she was ready to leave the planet then. Finally, thank Rita for her opposition. In other words, for all of you, any opposition or resistance you experience from others in your lives helps you to know who you are. Now, Rita was my great friend since 1986, but she died a couple of years ago as well. But before that, she started to say that she didn't understand anymore the messages that were coming through, the messages that I was receiving from Wilhelm, just like this, because she wasn't meant to. That was not part of her path at that time, and also she was ready to make her transition. Now, you all are in this moment of time awakening your humanity. We will continue to help you all through this time. Now we're going back to 2005, August 2005. You are indeed moving to a place in your life where you are much more willing to accept your very own unique and individual gifts, while at the same time recognizing that all creatures have this ability. With this new awareness and acceptance comes resistance. The resistance is your ego's way of trying to survive, as you well know. You will make the most expedient progress in this arena when you acknowledge the resistance and then gently make the decision to make a new choice. This is an ongoing process in your life and the lives of all. When you embrace it without fear, you do experience pure love. Examine all that comes to you willingly so that you avail of the opportunity of choice. In this manner, you gradually and steadily let go of tension and fear that heretofore prevented you from experiencing your life more fully. After all, that is truly a purpose-driven life. Experience that. 2005 is when I had this particular dream that has been referred to so often, where I was told that I was meant to bring something to the world at a particular time that was going to make a big difference, and I put it away. This message has never been published because I haven't published anything before 2008, even though I began receiving this information since 1989. But it took me a while to accept it. And then I discovered that I was receiving things in order. There is an order in the universe. Now, as we each live, we might discover something brand new, and that's what's happened for me. When I started receiving this information, I had no clue as where it was going, and then it turns out to be an organized, structured understanding of the universe and how we move through things. And what it did for me, it healed everything. It caused me to move to a higher place of consciousness. So when you hear things about self-mastery, self-actualization, and ascension, that's exactly what happened with me with all of this information. Which is why I'm 75 now, and I've healed everything, and it came through this information. But the one thing that I wasn't accepting is how valuable it was to be out in the world more fully, because I hid from myself, as you might have done. But we're at a different time now. See, I knew this particular time in our world was coming because I was told that in 2021, and then I was told that I had received all the information in 2012, which was another transformative time in our world because it was a change in collective consciousness. Throughout civilization, we change in consciousness. We can look at things now and think that this is so unprecedented what we're experiencing, but Wilhelm says, no, that's not what's happening. It's happened before. We just understand it in a new way, and that's the information that I was given. Now, many people will not want to look at themselves. That's always been our difficulty, looking inside and understanding, where have I gone wrong? What have I done? But see, a lot of that is what we inherited, what we bring in with us, which is the particular situation that we're in now in our world. Some people won't want to look at what's happened in their history and their ancestors and that information that we brought forth, and they'll want to go back to some other time that doesn't really exist because we're only supposed to move forward. But we happen to be in a new time, meaning we're moving to a new world. When we thought the world was ending in 2012 because the Mayan calendar ended, I'd never studied any of that, except I was given the information. On that date, Wilhelm said, wait, and you're going to learn how to move to a new place of being, creating a new world, because we learn how to use energy. That's all we are, is energy and consciousness. So this entire time, 37 years of me receiving this information was giving me, as it said, so much information. No person on earth would ever be able to consume it all. But I did put it into a program, and that's what I'm continuing to do now. But after this weekend, it's going to be quite different. I held myself back because I didn't understand what I had done. I didn't want to do channeling or any of that because I didn't know how valuable this work was and what would come through me. And I just did a channeling session on April 1st on the full moon. And I hadn't listened to it before. And then I went back and heard it, and it's brilliant. And then I have a podcast that's going to be released, an interview I did on April. It's going to come out on April the 8th. It's going to be released. And the interviewer just emailed me today, and he says he's so excited about it coming out because it was so right on. And Wilhelm gave so much information, and I don't remember any of it. That's the honesty I have to come to, because when I channel, I get pure information. That's why I can help any single person that is moving through some difficulty. I did not know years ago I had that ability because it developed. And I've also messed up so many things because I wasn't owning that. And that's what happens when you don't own the gifts that will develop, because we all have them. They'll come about at different times in your life, but also in our world. I was somebody else for many, many years. I was a vocal coach. I was doing so many other things. My entire life, I was doing so many other things, and I was hiding so much of this because I was accumulating it. It felt like I was hiding, but that's not what's happening. Not for you either. We're accumulating something, and that's wisdom and information that when we decide to own it, then our lives change. So that's what I'm doing now, and I had to put this out this weekend. And the thing that was so challenging to explain, because a lot of people will not believe this. I had difficulty believing it, so I understand. On Sunday is Easter Sunday. And that message, I went to look on the 5th, what did I receive last year? And it says, you did not have delusions of grandeur. Because that's how I felt, that I could have received something so incredibly powerful that it could have made this kind of a difference in the world, and I kept ignoring it. I can no longer do that because I can see the results and I can feel it. And I also know what is occurring in our world. We're attempting to get to this higher state of consciousness. Not everyone's going to do that. So it depends on how many of us are going to remember who we are, who we're supposed to become, and how to operate from this different place, a higher awareness. And we kind of remember that moral compass, or whatever you might call it. We each have that. But I was given work that could cause it to happen, and so much of my life was in misery and suffering and all of that for the longest time, which you will hear in some of the channeling sessions. But it's different now because of this work, due to this work. The only thing I didn't do is accept it and value it. And I never want to see other people do that. So that's why after this weekend, this work is available for everyone. And I'm going to continue doing it now. as I see all of this and understand the gift that I developed, and I'm going to honor it because I want more to do that. When I have a session with someone, a private session, it's the most thrilling thing ever to be able to access the information that is pertinent to them and see them awaken to things that I could have never experienced. As we live as humans, we develop new skills and abilities, and no one has done what I've done, but no one has done what you have could do either. So in the article, you will see so much of the information because Wilhelm has given us a blueprint for new humankind, basically. And I was told years ago this is the greatest contribution to human consciousness that we've ever seen because no one had organized it in this way. And I had to acknowledge and accept that I had become a savant. I didn't know that was there either, but that is what occurred. And I'm meeting with other people tomorrow, which I'm so grateful to others who have now come out of the closet, so to speak, into honoring their gifts and wanting to own them and not be afraid of them, to no longer fear who they are and could become. And that's why I had to go first. That was my kind of my life always, in so many different ways, and it could be yours as well. So what I know is that every single person has worth and value, and they're supposed to do something that would cause them to live a great life, and I was given the work for them to be able to accomplish that. And now I wasn't expected to understand myself until now, and that might be the same for you. Thank you for being here. Please subscribe to this channel if it's your first time. Share the information with others, and I'll leave the article for you because I will be giving this to everyone. I can finally own who I've become, which is I want more people to do the same thing. All right. I will see you soon.